The most successful people that I know and the people that really are making moves in their life, they surround themselves with really honest friendships that hold each other high. I must be willing to risk the relationship for what it has been in order to create what it can become.
When people ask you what you do, what do you say?
Essentially, we're in the work of what we call transformation. That doesn't make sense to anybody.
At all.
And so, there's a lot of trainings, programs, Tony Robbins, and all this personal development stuff. And the work that we do is essentially the source material. It's the human potential movement that took place in the 60s and 70s. We were lucky enough to be participants and find it. And what we're doing is the source material of just like, I'm here, I'd like to be here, what's that going to look like? And we've been blessed enough to be trainers and facilitators of that level of work.
That's what you say to someone on the airplane?
Source material. Well, look, Tony Robbins, he was put on this earth in this lifetime to do what he does, and he does it at a really high level. And his work is his. And at the end of the day, where did this all come from? And if you trace it all back, the work that we're doing is the source material for the whole world that is personal development. Any book you read, it actually comes from this place. And so I think people, they get interested. Source material, what does that mean?
So Tony Robbins does it on stages. He does podcasts. You can buy audio recordings and stuff like that. He's been doing this since the 90s? Late early, or the 80s, 90s, sure. Right? All right, we tend to do it in private rooms, right? It's what's the maximum number of people you've had in a room?
I think in general, we're looking at 50 to 80 people. There have been trainings that I've been in with 200, but nothing more than that.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I know personally, I love group training. I have my reasons why I love it over one-on-one coaching and why I love it over a Tony Robbins event. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm curious for you, why this? Why not go be a one-on-one coach? Why not go the Tony Robbins route and try to sell out a stadium? Why do you think it's this method of group work that lands for you and lands for other people?
Yeah, it's a great question. I do coach one-on-one. And what I have seen is in this group setting, you get way more done in a quicker amount of time. I think there's a few reasons for that. In a group setting, what you get that you can't get in one-on-one coaching is feedback. I can't see myself from the outside in. I can see myself from the inside out. I know who I think I am, how I think people might see me or receive me. But in a group setting, what you get in real time is how people actually experience me. I might think I'm really happy-go-lucky. Other people might think, dude, that guy's an asshole. I might think I'm being a really nice, kind person, but from the outside in, other people might not feel that way. And it's important for me to know. And I think you get that level, you get an extra level of awareness with other people. Also, look, we live in a world where we are always in constant community and relationship, whether it's our partners, groups of people at work, we're always with other people. And it just makes sense to do self-development work in a community because we are just by default relationship beings and always in community. And so I don't think you can replicate that on one-on-one.
Sometimes I feel like one-on-one, my growth will be limited based on how far I'm personally willing to go, or my own level of insight, what I'm willing to dig into. When I get into a group training, if one person breaks through something, I might be able to relate to that. I might be empathetic towards it, so there's growth in that. I might also remember something I went through that locked me up that I didn't even think about before, right? So I think there's value there. But the difference that I see, and I'm glad you got into feedback, because there's some people doing great work, like Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, large groups, where you can get that someone went on stage, had a breakthrough moment, I got something from that. But the feedback aspect of it, I feel like it would be missing. If there are 1,000 people in a room and you run people through some sort of feedback process, if I'm in chair A1 and you're in Z99, I don't know you, I haven't spent any time with you, so who am I to give you feedback? Right. So I was wondering, if there was a bigger version of this, how would you scale feedback like that? Or do you think it's just it has to stay small?
I can't really speak to the other programs and processes, but what I know is there are power groups and small groups. There's breakout sessions. So there's a big session and there's smaller sessions. So I imagine they use that too. And so I think it's probably effective. For me, I've done almost everything that's out there. I've read the books, I've been to the seminars and the trainings, the retreats and the ceremonies. I think the reason why I'm doing the work that I'm doing is, for me, it's still the most powerful vehicle for breakthrough and change. And this is where I am, this is where I want to be. And to close that gap in the amount of time that we're able to do it and how quickly it happens, I still haven't found anything better. I would also say sacred and reverent. Like it is a sacred and reverent, and it feels, I mean, a lot of people have described it as like a spiritual experience. And so I still haven't found anything that works better for me and the people that I know. That's why I'm all in.
I feel the same way. All right. Now, can we get real for a second? So you and I have talked 4 years. We've known each other for how long?
2017. Oh my goodness. 8 years.
Oh yeah, and I wouldn't be married without you. I mean, you gave me some of the most poignant feedback I've ever heard in my life. That woke me up.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to say it actually because it may make you look like an asshole if I say the feedback you gave me that shifted how I am in relationships with women especially. I'm not sure how it'll land, but if I have permission, I'll tell people what it was.
I'm good with
gist of it.
But I think what's important is like we got to set the stage and the context, because for someone to just say that to someone else without the context of like what was happening, it wouldn't make sense.
But let's say the context wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
You and I are just buddies. We haven't gone through this transformational phase.
Yep.
And you came to me and you sat me down and you just gave me feedback like that.
Yep.
You don't think contextually as friends to go in with someone like that, it wouldn't be shifting? Or if we had a level of trust and relationship, it couldn't create a new opening?
Yeah, I think that if the relationship is there, I don't know a lot of like male relationships where guys really stand for each other in that way. Yeah, I think it probably would have made a difference.
Yeah. Look, the reality is like in your own way, having just met me, you called me a womanizer.
Yep.
That I was showing up that way, and the reality was that's how I was behaving. And so I was showing up saying I want a relationship, but my behavior was the exact opposite of what a stable relationship would look like.
Right.
And I wish that more of my friends had the courage to be honest about it. Mm-hmm. And I think the reality is sometimes, I don't know about you, when I'm in these rooms, I feel like people in general want to be in more rooms where people will keep it 100 with them, like be super honest and direct about what's not working for me and what is, right? There's a lot of things working for people too, but what's not working for me, and they're not getting that in their life. What have you found are like the main reasons why like the friends I have in my life or the family I have around me aren't being as direct with me as these strangers that show up in the room?
I think there's two things. One reason why people wouldn't be at 100 with each other is if I hold you to a certain level of like, I expect more from you, Brian, as my friend, then it gives permission for you to hold me to that level. And I think there's a status quo that we maintain in our relationships of, I'll buy your bullshit, just buy mine. Also, people in general, we're insecure. We're worried about people might think of me. And so it's uncomfortable. It's my own insecurities. It's my own stuff. The fear of what is Brian going to think of me, or is Brian going to not be my friend anymore? And so I think those two are probably the main things why we don't generally and normally in society hold each other to that standard. I will say the most successful people that I know and the people that really are making moves in their life, they surround themselves with really honest friendships that hold each other high. Like, I won't buy your BS. You don't buy mine. If you see me running some BS, like, I'm going to hold you high and you're going to hold me high. That's something that I see in common with most of the successful people that I know.
I'd agree. Now, do you think that they drop their old friends to find new friends like that? Or do you believe that their friendships they had, like there was some moment where they blew up the friendships, right? They broke up like, you know what, we just hang out, we talk about football, or we hang out because we watch Love Island together, whatever it is for you. And then one day someone just came in like, I want to elevate our friendship because here's what we want in our life and we don't have it. Yeah. I'm curious what do you think's more likely? Because what I hear sometimes is when someone becomes aware, right, of here's where I want to go, I want to change the 5 friends around me, where they start to get a little slippery is like, do I have the courage to go blow up my friendships or find new friendships? And losing friends feels scary.
Yep.
right? Because people who've been friends since like, oh, I know this person since elementary school or middle school, but that relationship may not serving you. So I'm just to bring it back down to my question, what do you think is most likely that people who become wildly successful, they find entirely new circles or they elevate the circle that they're in?
I don't know the answer to that. I think I can speak from my own experience. I've been on this journey of like becoming a better person for 11 years. I'm still friends with people I was friends with 11 years ago. I'm also not friends with people I was friends with 11 years ago. I know that I have intentionally shown up in a way that attracts a new kind of friendship. Also, I think naturally a lot of these relationships fade away. You know, it's like you water the relationships that you want and the ones you don't will wilt. I think it's just a natural process. It's a shedding. It's an evolution. As I grow, the relationships that are also growing will probably stay, and the ones that are, not will probably. It's not that it's right or wrong or I don't like them anymore. Or I'm too good for them, but they will gravitate and magnetize towards their people. And at a certain point, I know that my people weren't necessarily my people anymore. And it wasn't like I can't be friends with you, but we find our people. I think relationships are like that and communities like that. We just naturally will gravitate towards people who resonate and vibrate at where you're operating. I think you're one of those friends. We weren't friends 11 years ago. And naturally, it's like we see the world in similar ways. We hold each other to similar standards. And so, of course, we're going to be friends.
Yeah. If you get really committed to something in your life, you will lose some friends in the process.
Yep.
Like some people are just not ready for you to play life at that level. Some friendships, some family members, even your relationship partner. And then when I look back at my journey, I don't think I've lost any friends, but I do think I've lost associates. I lost people I was associating myself with, or if I did lose like what I might call a friendship, there was already some shit going on there that I wasn't addressing or cleaning up in the first place. Like those friendships, I'm sure you can relate to this, those friendships where it just feels icky for some reason, there's something unsaid, or you're friends with them but you really don't trust them that much. Frenemies, they call it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you get committed to big things, you're gonna lose some frenemies. But I don't really think I lost any like ride or die lifetime friendships by being the best version of me that I wanted to be. And then it made me wonder, man, how many of us hold ourselves back because we're worried about what acquaintances think about us?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I haven't lost any friends as, I'm transforming myself and becoming a better person. I haven't lost any friends, for sure. But on some level, what I'm clear about is if I'm headed in a direction that I'm clear about, like I know that I want to make a difference on this scale and my current relationships don't serve me in a way to allow me to get there, I must be willing to risk the relationship for what it has been in order to create what it can become. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense to me, but when you say it, I don't think unless you've been coached or done a lot of work, you won't know what it really means to risk the relationship.
Yeah.
So when you're saying risk the relationship, can you be more explicit on what that is for you?
I'm trying to think of an example from my own life. Look, I think in society in general, like acquaintance relationships, it would be risky. And it might feel like I'm going to risk this relationship. We might not be friends anymore. To have a conversation like I had with you, just like, hey, you're showing up like a womanizer. That's not a normal, necessarily like status quo kind of conversation. But you must be willing to risk what the friendship has been and say the hard things and the true things in order to create the relationship that it can become. I've had those conversations in my life with friends like, hey, what I witnessed you do, I'm not okay with. And on some level, since I was there, you have made me complicit to your behavior. And there's an impact on people that I know and I love by you acting that way. And by you acting that way and I have to be a witness, you're actually making me a co-conspirator. And I'm not here for that. So, look, if you don't tell your partner what you did, I will. But it's not my place. It's your place to be responsible.
Have you ever had to go tell someone's partner what they did?
No. No, I have not, but they have, because I've had that conversation and I gave them the choice. You gotta own up to your responsibility and your integrity. It's not mine, but you're making me live with this. And every time I see your partner, you're turning me into a liar. I resent it. I don't want it. And so if we're gonna be friends, like, you gotta own up to your shit.
Yeah.
And I've had that conversation a few times, not too many. 100% of the time, they own up to it. They thank me later. At the time, they're pissed. They're like, "Oh my God, how dare you!" But later on, it's like a thank you.
It's funny because, I mean, you're mentioning something kind of extreme. Like, you did something wrong. You're out of integrity in your relationship. I'm challenging you to go have this conversation.
Yeah.
But it could also be like, I want to bring it down a bunch. Like, I learned when I was younger, based on bad experiences I had, to never talk badly about my partner to my friends. Mm-hmm. Because they have to go be in relationship with that person, and friends that care about you are going to become defensive, or whatever thoughts they had around you not being good enough for me or whatever is going to come up, right? And so I think part of it is also like, yeah, you go be honest about that thing you did wrong, but also if I've been the person that allows you to like bag on your partner, right? Or talk shit about your boss, and I'm just kind of like taking it on, and it's exhausting. If that's not the relationship that I want, at some point I have to say, no, like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I don't care about you, but that's just not the relationship I want to have with you. And I'm complicit in you talking shit about your partner versus handling the shit with your partner you got to handle. Or I'm complicit in you complaining about your boss versus challenging you to go find the job that you want to have. And the risk is like the vulnerability involved in owning that. Like, it's like that cut, right? That something has to shift here for us to stay friends, because I can't stay friends with you if our relationship is just you talking shit about somebody all the time. And I think that based on the results in the world, most people are unwilling to go there.
Yeah.
What would the world look like if more people, if people were willing to be more honest with their friends? What do you think the world might look like?
It's hard to imagine. From my own experience and my community of friends and relationships, it works. It works. I think one of the biggest things, this goes back to an earlier question, what do you think stops us from being that honest with each other? I think people take things too personally too. Everything's too personal. So if a friend tells me that I'm being a bad husband, it's like, I take it personal. It's like, what if it wasn't about you? What if it wasn't about a critical piece of you and you're a bad person? It's like, hey, there's an elevation. I think if people just became less, take things personally, it's like there's so much more available in the world when I look past myself. Mm-hmm. And then I could see the opportunity of like, oh, this is my friend and they want more from me and of me. Oh, this is a blessing. This is what a gift. Now I can show up even bigger than I have.
Right. Instead of like getting resistant, I'm mad at you for saying that to me, right, versus I said I want to accomplish something in my life, and look who's showing up for me. Like, whatever you believe in, whether it's God or the universe, like maybe this friend's coming to me at this moment to be honest with me in this way so that I get what I said I want.
Yeah.
I think life tests us like that all the time. Yeah. You said you wanted that. All right, I'm going to start organizing stuff in your favor to see if you really want that or not. And we'll see. We'll see. I think life is always will seeing us.
It's true. I think it's pretty simple. If you want new, distinct, and different results in your life, you just got to do things new, distinct, and different. And every moment is an opportunity. When you face a challenge, when a friend stands up for you, or whatever it might be, there is an opportunity to choose something new, distinct, and different to create new, distinct, and different results. Mm. And when I walk around the world and I see people and I talk to people, everybody wants new, distinct, and different results. They do. Unless they're like, they're willing not to look. If anyone really asks, it's how human beings are wired. We want more. No one's actually super satisfied with where they're at. They want more. And to create that, you just got to be new, distinct, and different in every moment, and you have the power to choose at all times.
Yeah. I want to change subject a little bit. Yeah. Still talking about growth, but most of the trainings we do are co-ed, right? Mm-hmm. So all ages, 18 plus, all genders in there, yep, all backgrounds. But often when you and I get on the phone and we start debriefing our experiences of what we've been looking at in the room, what we tend to come back to is what we're seeing from men, especially young men. And I would say young is what, let's say 35 and below? Or would you go younger than that when you think about the young men in the room?
I might go older than that.
Really?
Yeah. I might go older.
Really?
I'm 40. And so I would go, when I look, even folks a little bit older than me.
And so our concern in our debriefs tends to be about the patterns that we're seeing in young men that we weren't seeing even, say, 8 years ago, 5 years ago when we came in, that we see now. And so I'm curious if you'd be willing to share that in a recording. What have you seen that makes you most concerned or most curious?
Just want to be preface to your audience that I'm not an expert in this field, but I can only speak to my own experience and what I've been witnessing. My background is I work with large groups of people, anywhere from 50 to 100 people, always either coaching or facilitating, and 18 to 80, and all different genders, socioeconomic backgrounds, everybody. And what I have seen is an inability for men 40 and under to create. There is a blockage that I'm witnessing of this inability to create or make moves, or they can say a lot of things, but they energetically don't even know how to begin. My experience, you get a group of 50 people. Let's just say they all have the same KPI. They have the same result that they all have to hit. They're working as a group and as individuals to create this. It is the young men that have the hardest time. And I'm seeing women being same results that they're playing for, women be way more effective in creating it. If anything, I see women also looking at the younger men going like, what is up with you? You keep on saying all these things, but you're not doing it. Your actions don't match up with what you're saying that you want. You and I, we've talked about it. It's an odd thing to witness. It feels like more and more I see it more and more. Kind of like this perpetual state of adolescence, hoping someone else will do it. I also think perhaps it's like in their mind, I still have time. Like, I'll do it later. And then I'll do it later turns into never, is what I've seen.
I think when you frame it that way, I will say I've seen the same thing. I always think about it as emotional constipation going on with them, where I just want something out of you. Like sometimes I'll say it in the rooms, like I just want to throw this marker at you. I want to like wring you out for a second. Not like I actually want to cause you harm.
Yep.
I just want something to move through you. I don't care if it's anger or frustration or laughter or joy, but you can't feel anything.
Yep.
And I don't know what the shutdown is, and I've been trying to play with it. Like, is it that did we tell all of you that you had ADD, right? And so you've been like taking Adderall your whole life and just like shutting down your emotions and not feeling it? Is it that we shut you down and put you in a classroom so you were never really able to like play and explore, or were you made wrong for maybe this younger generation more than us was made wrong for, trying to talk to women? Right? Or anytime you did act out, it was like, hey, you have a behavioral issue. Like, I don't know what we did as a society such that they don't feel like they have the permission to emote.
My guess is societally, right, there was the greatest generation. And the men of that generation, they all went off to war. They lived in brotherhood. They lived in life or death. They fought for something bigger than themselves, and they knew what that meant. Whether we agree or disagree with like the reasons for war, but there was a generation of men in this country that left the country, and they sacrificed themselves for a larger thing than just themselves. And they understood brotherhood. They understood just like every moment counts and matters. And then as we go down the generations, from the greatest generation to the baby boomers were raised by those men. Good, bad, right, or wrong, sure. Like we hear the stories of like older like generations of men being shut down and being women didn't have a lot of roles and space in that generation. But for whatever reason, like it gets passed down of responsibility, of duty, of honor, and like marching forward even when you don't want to. And then from the boomers, then there's the Xers and the millennials, and now we're in the Gen Z, Gen Alpha. But I think we've just gotten far removed from the generations that had to stand for something, and there's nothing at stake. And I just feel like as a society, we have probably gotten really soft. We live in a culture and a society that's very comfortable. And for whatever reason, what we're seeing is young men being really susceptible to comfort. But I think that has something to do with it too. Because I'll be honest, like immigrant cultures in this country, they live it every day. If they came from a place with nothing, they know how to fight for something. They know how to show up every single day, because if they don't, there's no food on the table for their children. There is probably just something to a culture of laziness and comfort, where if I grew up and everything was expected and handed to me, who do I grow up to be?
You know what I want to make distinct here is that, and I don't want people to feel, some of these men are finding success in life. Mm-hmm. We're not saying that these are like young boys who like suck at life, right? Mm-hmm. They're not broke. Sometimes some of the most emotionally constipated people in my experience are the ones that have a lot of zeros behind their name. I wonder how much of this is because there's a narrative, nowadays there's a narrative out there that I don't think you and I were exposed to when we were younger, that if you're not worth 25 million by 25, you're a failure. Mm-hmm. And there's also this culture of specialization. You have to pick the one thing and then go get really good at that one thing, and you'll make all that your money in your life and all your success from being really good at this one thing. And the way that ends up playing out, and I heard this on another podcast recently, like why more NBA players are getting injured than ever. And it's because past generations, they were 3-sport athletes. So they would play football in the fall, basketball in the winter, and then they would play baseball in the spring. Mm-hmm. And what was happening was you were working different muscle groups. Your core was being trained in different ways, right? So you were cross-training. That's what they would call it today. But now what happens if I identify you as talented in basketball at age 8, all you do is play basketball. Like if I think that you can be an engineer, all you do is math, all you do is science. And so we're like taking people that should be expressive and more creative, and earlier we're putting them in these boxes and saying for you to be successful in life, you have to just excel in this one box. Mm-hmm. So then when you put them in a space where they have to like stretch and be different things and emote in different ways, in ways that one box that they tend to live in doesn't require, they don't know what to do with it. Because we just simply haven't allowed them to, and we've told them that if they go too far off from that one like cookie cutter box, they won't be successful. Yep. And they won't win.
I mean, if we stick to the sports analogy, I look at Jokic of the NBA, reliable player. Physically, you look at him, doesn't look like he's in that great a shape, but he is a reliable player, and he was a 3-sport athlete. Water polo. And when you watch him play basketball, it looks like he's playing water polo. Like people are hanging off his body, and he just knows how to move them around. The way he holds the ball is like water polo. And yeah, he hasn't had a catastrophic injury. It makes sense.
He hasn't, and there's this idea of what it takes to be successful.
Yeah.
But when you look at some of the star athletes, or just the stars in whatever realm they are, mm-hmm. their habits are a little different. Like Jokic doesn't play basketball all summer. He goes and he like rides his horses, right? Steph Curry's, Draymond Green once said that you can't find Steph Curry near a basketball court in the summer. He's hanging out with his family and playing golf. And playing golf. And my boxing trainer told me that the Klitschko's, they never ran.
Oh, wow.
Their cardio was all swimming. Someone decided early on, you guys are bigger guys. If you run like the rest of the boxers, you're going to tear your joints up. Mm-hmm. So we're going to put you into swimming. And that's why they could outlast other boxers. Yeah. And then like Ohtani's making waves in the MLB right now. Mm-hmm. It's one sport, but he's mastering 2 different skill sets in it. But how many kids that show promise as like a pitcher and a hitter have to pick one? So then we get these guys, and they've been like, your whole life you've been said you need to pick one thing, get good at it, hammer at that one thing, and now we're in a room telling them that they're more than just that one thing.
And I think it starts young, to your point, societally. What's the question we ask young kids? What do you want to be? Versus like, who do you want to be? Or what kinds of things are you interested in? It's always like a singular answer. What do you want to be? And it starts young.
Can I tell you, I want to be open to some feedback from you right now. I want to tell you the one thing that drives me crazy or that pisses me off about group work or group trainings. We create this environment in a room for like 3 days or 5 days, whatever it is, that is it's this closed container of, I wouldn't say safety, but a brave space, but it is a level playing field. We treat everyone the same, treat everyone equal. And what I find is that while we're in the room, it is often the women and immigrants, people of color, that rise up to be the leaders in the room. And then we take those leaders or those people, and then we put them in a real life application program. And the leaders that showed up in the room aren't always the biggest winners in the application program. And what drives me crazy is that given a level playing field, the hustlers, the drivers, the people that are able to be nimble do win. But then in society, they're running into like racism in the world, sexism in the world. Like if you are a white male, you will just do a little bit better, right? Generally speaking. And I think what drives me crazy about it, what I'm trying to say is like, sometimes I feel kind of frustrated and defeated because on one hand, I'm telling someone they're unlimited power and possibility, but then they got to meet the world that holds them down. And they still get to run their race, but like it's almost sometimes the application side of it doesn't feel fair.
What's the feedback?
Have you ever felt that way? And am I off base? And is that just what I'm saying because of the body that I'm in?
I haven't necessarily put my eyes or mind to that, but I can see what you're saying. But I think it goes back to what we were talking about. In any moment is an opportunity to choose new, distinct, and different. And like I'm really clear about the condition of this country societally. It's not an even playing field. I think anyone could admit that. It is easier for some than others. But my mindset always is it's rigged in my favor. Because I have it harder, and obviously, look, I'm an Asian person. I don't have it as hard as other, racial gender subgroups, and I have it harder than others. But it's a blessing for me to face whatever resistance that I face in my life based on my physical appearance to grow even further. I think those that, like Oprah Winfrey, she had faced a lot being a black woman in this country. And because of it, I feel like there's always an opportunity to rise up. It's actually a gift when I'm faced with things coming my way. And I know what I'm saying. It's going to be anyone listening, if you lean one side or the other politically, you're going to interpret what I'm saying however you want to, but I don't care. We live in America in 2025. And I don't care who you are, what you believe in, what you look like. You won the cosmic lottery to be one of the 300 million people to live in this country today. We could be living in Gaza. We can be living in other third world countries. We won the cosmic lottery to be here. So do I want to focus on all the ways life is unfair for me? Or really I have an abundance of resources and I can choose my own adventure in this country? You just can. And it is your right to look at all the injustices that are happening to people just like me. It is absolutely your right. And we do need freedom fighters and social justice warriors to create a level playing field. But also, it's like, if you live in America in 2025, you have it good. You just do. If you want to rail against the 1%, guess what? You're in the 1% of the world. You just are.
I'm definitely not arguing to go back anywhere, right? I think that I'm naming what it is. Like, yes, it's not going to be a level playing field. I think the older and older I get, I'm starting to more admit the way that things are and how the way the world works. Why isn't there a black, Mark Zuckerberg? It's because the system hasn't created one.
Yep.
He didn't become that on his own. Like, they chose him, funded him, put all the people around him and help him succeed. They just haven't done that with as many black tech leaders. There's so much going on that's relationship based. And so when they say the system is kind of rigged against you, it's not like anyone's trying to hold you down. It's just kind of like the backdoor deals and friendships and handshakes that get things done. You're not really in those rooms. I think as I get older and older, I'm appreciating opening any door available to me to get in those rooms and be the representative for my culture in that space, because we still don't all have access.
Right.
I don't actually believe the playing field will ever be level. Like, I don't think in human history there's ever been a level
Well, I
playing
think there's
field.
the thing too. It's like I think we often forget like the percentages of race in this country. Right, 13% black, 6% Asian, 50 some odd percent white.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's a system of oppression that's designed to put me. Most of the people are white. Also, when I watch the Olympics and I see a Japanese dude or a Korean dude or even a Chinese dude that looks like me, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. I think human beings are naturally inclined, mammals are naturally inclined to root for people or things that resonate with you, that feel closer to who you are. Wolves hang out with wolves. They're not going to just go hang out with the coyote, right? We just do. That's naturally how it goes. And, I think that's something that we overlook as a society often.
I think that as things evolve, we're a capitalist society. It's becoming more and more so that the wealth gap is growing. I think race will start to matter less, and it'll just be haves and have-nots. Right. Because I don't think that Michael Jordan, because of the color of his skin, has less access to anything right now. Oprah, Will Smith is getting the second chance of his life right now, right?
Yeah.
But money and power
Yep.
and influence, and that's just what it is, right? And there will be those who have that and those who don't, and it doesn't really matter anymore. Yeah. I'm not saying race doesn't matter, because it does, and that's a real conversation for people. But I'm saying macro scale, as I see how things are moving, it's really becoming like, who has it and who doesn't. I want to talk about coming to manhood. Mm-hmm. It's gonna feel like a cutting shift, but like before we, it's something you and I have talked about a lot. Some of the trainings we are involved in are men only, and what we talk about often is like, what does it mean to come to a manhood in our culture, right? There is no rite of passage anymore, and maybe there wasn't for a long time. I don't know if the farmer 500 years ago, if there was like a rite of passage for him. I think we like to believe that we were all hunters, and at some point you had to go out and kill a tiger by yourself, but I don't think everyone was doing that. But it does seem like today there is no, hey, you are now a man. Yeah. And I'm curious for you, when you think about like the rite of passage that could be there, in your magic wand dreams, what would it look like for men?
Yeah, I think you're right. In society, in our current American society, is there a rite of passage for most men? There isn't. And I think, just so people understand, what you're talking about is like there was, in cultures throughout the world, there were ceremonies with men, and it was like when a boy like got his first kill or went on his own journey and came back with the line. Like there are those sorts of rites of passage, and when they came back from that journey, they became a man, and like the elders acknowledged them as men. Do we have that today? I don't think so. I think there's smaller versions of it. I remember, and I'll never forget, when my dad taught me how to tie a necktie. And I remember as a kid going, oh, I'm a man. I don't know if he felt that way, but there are some things like that. What are you laughing?
I'm laughing because my dad would also try to teach me the things like what it means to be a man. Yeah. And I just remember every time he worked on the car, he'd bring me outside to work on the car. And he would have me change the oil, change the brakes, do different things on the engine. He was like, if you learn these skills right now, it'll save you so much money when you're older, because you'll be able to do this by yourself as a man. Yeah. And what's so funny is my car's electric now, so there is no oil or anything in the engine to change. But that is what he felt it was. And so, yeah, I definitely did learn these things. Yeah. Sometimes when I think about manhood, oh man, I might cut this, but when I look at people sometimes in their behavior, I ask myself, like, have they ever been in a fight before?
Yep.
And when I look at YouTube and I read the comments on videos like that, they're like, this is how someone behaves when they've never gotten their ass kicked. Yep. And is what our society's missing is like a bunch of people should have got their ass kicked at some point, and they didn't. And they turned into Karens.
I think it's all connected. We're talking about generations and like life is easy, and I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to sit here and advocate violence, but yes, there are people in my life, really dear friends of mine, and I've told them, what you needed just once in high school was someone to chin check you, just one chin check to like, this is inappropriate. I can't act like this. I can't treat people like this. Life is more than just about me. And just a chin check from a peer. And I have said that. I have. It almost feels like a rite of passage too. Not the violence part, but like, is there a way in this society that guys and peers can show up for each other and be like, hey, we got to cross this threshold and it must be earned. It occurs to me right now as I'm talking, I'm like, this sounds like a gang initiation.
But that even, look, I'm not telling people to join gangs either, but like joining a gang has a rite of passage in it. Into the brotherhood, I don't know anything about the mob, but I would guess they have some sort of rite of passage. Like, you are part of this tribe now. Yeah. That I think as a society, as we've grown so big, is missing. I also think that's like part of an opportunity for you and I that we've talked about a lot and never really executed on. Yeah. Like, you and I, with all the experience we have, and if we're passionate about this, it wouldn't be challenging for us to, maybe it would be challenging, but not impossible for us to design a rite of passage or some sort of misogi or journey that we put people on. Yep. To challenge you in a way where you come out of it feeling like, I held my feet to the fire, and I got out. I got through without having to go to war, without having to get chin checked, without all these like violent things that really could cause you harm. Yeah. And I think there would be a demand for that.
Yeah. If anyone watching or listening doesn't know what a misogi is, I would highly recommend a book called The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter. And he talks about a Japanese concept called a misogi. And there's 2 rules. It must be hard, and 2, you can't die. And he goes through a series, like he talks about the different ones he's done, and it's like physically grueling with the chance of death, but he does one once a year. And I think that's a rite of passage. You get a crew of men together to execute a misogi that requires you to support each other, and then by the end of it, it's like, yeah, we just crossed a threshold.
We could do a whole episode about misogis. I've been sitting on one, Kanai Island off the coast of LA. There is a hike you can do that's basically like the full range of the island, and it takes like 3 to 4 days, depending on how fast you go. And I'm someone who's like never camped outside by myself. I've never done a multi-day hike. It seems scary. I have no idea what kind of supplies I can take. So it's like, okay, that's one I could do, but like not have to worry about a grizzly bear attacking me, right? But it would make me feel uncomfortable in such a way that I think there'd be growth there. Yeah. And that's the one I found for me. Have you ever found the misogi for you that would be like the next step?
No. I've been thinking about it. I've had a few ideas. I haven't executed on any. Quite honestly, I feel like I live a daily misogi. Like, I live in constant discomfort and stretching, and maybe can teeter on an unhealthy level of like, I always look at myself and see where I'm responsible and where I can grow, and how I can keep on stretching. So I do live like a constant state of discomfort, which I'm proud about. We'll talk about this offline. I think it's time. I think it's time. Catalina sounds great. There's no apex predators on that island. Yeah, let's freaking go. Maybe do it without food.
See, he's adding to it, people. He's adding to it. It was hard enough. You know what, man? Thank you for being on the show. Yeah. Doing this podcast this way is also part of my misogi. We've been talking about being loud for a long time, and it hasn't happened. So, like, thank you for letting me call you and enroll you to be on and being one of the first guests. And would love to have you back. Maybe next time we like take someone on together, like some sort of young man, and like we get into them. Like, what are you experiencing? So it's not just coming from us. Yeah. If people want to find you or work with you some way, how would they find you?
You can follow me on Instagram. I'm not big on the socials. It's just my name, arthur.kanai, and the website for the Atlas Project is atlasproject.org. There's no words that I can put on it. It's not for everyone. It's highly intense, but it is the most effective version of personal development that I think most people will find on the planet. And if you are serious and willing to get confronted with all your stuff, and you're serious about changing your life and taking your life to the next level, run, don't walk. Highly, it's not even encourage or recommend. Like, if that's the kind of person you are, run.
Oh, yeah. Get it done. Yeah. And you'll meet us in person.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you got something that you found useful today, feel free to comment, like it, share it with others. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until we see you next time, try something new.